let's talk about how to unleash your sexual self and really tap into your most animalistic, primitive form that women are just magnetically drawn towards. And this video really applies to you if either you end up in the friend zone after talking with a girl for a long time. This can be a few days, this can be weeks, this can even be months. Or if you struggle to be sexual in conversations, if your conversations with women are genuinely boring and they don't really lead anywhere, like girls tend to flake, or it just never amounts to anything. Or if your conversations often feel like interviews where you ask a lot of questions, they're boring, and nothing really goes on. So the first step to really tap into your, let me actually move that away, to tap into your most highest sexual self is to understand your programming. And this means to basically understand, why am I not sexual in the first place, right? Because every man has that sexual self deep inside of him. It is inside of you. It was, at least when you were born, right? But some people took it away, society, and we'll get into that. But you're not missing anything. You have all you need. The issue is you just don't allow yourself to tap into that sexual force. And one thing that I, was victim of when I was younger is I thought that, being sexual with girls, like showing my true intentions, is somehow bad. And that comes from programming, right? Because society as a whole has no interest in you being your most primitive, strongest, most attractive self. Society does not want you to be super sexual and masculine. You need to understand that. For the group as a whole, it doesn't make sense. Now, for the individual suffers if he's not masculine. And there's this whole thing of toxic masculinity, right? So it's not pushed. The second thing is being versus doing. And what I mean by that is you need to change your mindset from doing sexual things to being sexual. So a lot of the questions I got from guys throughout the years was really like, how do I become more sexual? How do I do sexual things? How can I create sexual tension on a date, for example? And I get the question because I asked this myself, but the question is flawed because you need to shift from doing stuff to actually being. Being sexual is not about tricks and techniques and gimmicks. It's about your inherent essence, who you are as a man, being a sexual being. And instead of using little tricks to be sexual, let sexuality flow in you. Let sexuality be you. I know it sounds kind of weird said like that, but hang with me, right? You need to be sexual from the start. You don't need to see it as this weird thing, which we'll get into. But for so many guys, being sexual is a weird thing. And if you have that premise in the first place, nothing will ever work for you. You need to change from, trying to do sexual things to actually accepting, hey, I'm a sexual being, I have a penis, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, once you understand your social programming and you understand why you're not being sexual in the first place, and you actually understand the difference between being sexual versus doing sexual things, let's look at sexual escalation, how you actually can be sexual when talking to a girl, right? Because that's what we care about. We want to have some actionable steps to act upon. So the first thing you need to understand is that 93% of communication is nonverbal. Nonverbal means everything that's not your words that come out of your mouth. And that to me is crazy. So think about that. You can convey your sexuality through your eye contact, right? It needs to be strong, but have a little smile. Your body language, overall, you want to, lean back, stand tall, and just have a very secure, comfortable, relaxed body language, because that's going to make the girl feel more safe with you and really display that you're in control. And that's inherently sexual. That's very masculine. And accepting sexual tension, right, when looking at her. So lots of guys struggle with exactly that, right? With not knowing what to say, with having these weird, awkward moments. But the awkward moments are exactly what makes the conversation sexual. That's exactly the difference between a platonic and friendly conversation and a sexual one. The only difference is the tension. So you need to get comfortable with accepting these pauses and accepting that, yes, in some conversations, there will be blanks. There will be moments where neither the girl, neither you do talk. And in those moments, you can actually leverage those and, look at the girl, look in her eyes, have strong eye contact, smile at the same time, and just embrace that tension. Now, teasing. Can you stop looking at me like this with a big smile and, making her understand that there is a playful vibe between both of you? Your vibe, your energy. This is super key. If from the start you don't have a sexual vibe, a man to women vibe, it's going to be very, very difficult. And really, like, I can't stress this enough. Your vibe, your energy, your nonverbal communication is really 93%. It's so much more important than the actual words you use. Now, as a summary, you really want to stop seeing being sexual as something bad or creepy. It's not. It's totally fine. In fact, it's even needed in this world. You should be sexual. And be sexual instead of doing sexual things, right? So think of it as your essence. You are sexual. You're not doing sexual things. That is just you. That is your core identity. And if you see yourself that way, it will be much easier for you to be sexual with women. Now, the last but not least, focus on your vibe and your energy. As I said, that is really, really 93% of the game is having a sexual vibe, a sexual energy from the start, and it's going to make it much easier. Now, this is really the most important part. None of this matters in this video if you don't actually implement it. So make sure you implement it next time you're on a date or you're talking to a girl you really like. And I'll see you in the next video. I hope this was useful. If there's any feedback, let me know. I'm reading all of your comments. I'll see you in the next one.